Alright, so contrary to the previous video that I did where I was swimming, and then afterwards I went on camera and talked about how all the action I'm doing around my pelvic floor when swimming was what was causing my voice to be a lot more resonant afterwards. Now I think possibly some aspect of that is true, but what I can definitely say for sure is that it was more likely to be mostly something to do with the way I was breathing in. So when I was breathing in on that time when I did the video, as in during the pool visit before that video, and I would do a lot of kind of sucking in air, like this sort of thing, when I was coming up to water, because I'm not particularly a great swimmer, so I'm like kind of gasping for air, which, you know, I can't imagine you're really meant to do, but by doing this, you are literally like sucking down your larynx. So if you imagine that you're kind of going this, you can also see that the uvula is rising as well. So the soft palate is raised, and you're bringing all this area down, right? And if you do that again and again and again, you're basically creating this really, really open throat. And then after a while, your body gets used to it. So right now when I'm talking, it is so much boomier than it usually is during the day and stuff. But by doing this, I'm basically getting this larynx really, really low. The soft palate is rising, so I've created so much space in there. So then it means my whole voice mechanism just works so much better. So everyone knows about how, you know, the larynx should be down. But yeah, you don't ever want to distort it down like all this kind of stuff. People say yawning, like but I mean, as Michael Trimble said, Michael Trimble's like my favourite scene teacher. I've never even met him, but I'm trying to get lessons with him at the moment. But what he says is no one talks like that. No one talks like with their, you know, like this. No, there's no language where people talk like that. So he said, well, you don't ever want to sing like that, like this, because you're using all the muscles up here to do that. But if you do this, then when you go to talk, you're not like going like, but you've got this really open throat inside there. So yeah, he talks about, you know, sucking in the larynx. This is Michael Trimble. He talks about sucking in the larynx and stuff. And you got all these opera singers backstage, and they do all sorts of things like this. But what I realised is I was actually doing that while swimming. So today I really exaggerated it and did loads and loads. And this is like, you know, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks after the previous video. And I've been, today I was really going for this kind of sucking in process every time I was coming up to breathe. And it meant that I could get, first of all, I think, possibly a much deeper breath. The efficiency that I had when I was swimming was so much better than usual. I was able to get faster length times. So so I mean, I was really exaggerating there. And I mean, I've also been told by, you know, top ENT in Sydney that, or a voice specialist in Sydney, that I have a really high larynx when talking. So I've always kind of known that, but it's a case of how to get it to go down without depressing it down, you know. Because when I talk, I find that I'm often depressing the larynx without, you know, using breath, just using all these muscles to get it down like this, you know. I don't think my British ancestry particularly helps, because I'm always like talking so like back in the throat here, so I'm always like depressing everything to pronounce, you know, consonants like G and like G. Yeah, it's really, I'm depressing the larynx when I do that. But yeah, if you do all of this sucking in and then you talk, you're going to have a much better open throat in there. And the other thing is that I want to mention is that people talk about the inhaling the voice, the Inalare voce notion, and I've found that particularly helpful when it comes to this, because it's all well and good doing this sucking in to get the really open throat and the low larynx and the, you know, raised soft palate, etc. It's all well and good doing that. When you actually go to sing, it doesn't just all unravel. It doesn't go there. It doesn't just all kind of go back to where it was. And you can't like And so there's one option, which is to, you know, let it all go and let all the, you know, voice go forward and let it go out and stuff. But that's gonna, you basically lose the advantages that you're getting from opening your throat in that way with the sucking in that you're doing with the breath. So that's one option, which is not good. The second option is to try and hold it really rigid, and hold it really tight so it can't move. But that's also not a good. That's not also not a good option, because then you're bringing all the tensions anyway that you're trying to get rid of. So that's the second option. Also not good, probably worse than the first one. And then the third option you've got is to try and imagine that you're still inhaling when you're singing. So if you do this, and then when you're talking, you're imagining you're still almost sucking in. Now this is like really amazing, because it's like, instead of just letting it go and instead of holding it there, it's like you're trying to pull it back even more, even when you're speaking. Like, obviously you can't inhale when you're, you know, when you're like singing, but the feeling of trying to inhale, the feeling of trying to still suck the air in while you're doing that means it's kind of like you've got this counter pressure, which means when you're singing, the throat stays really, really open, and it means, and the further back you are, the better the resonance is going to be up here in the forehead. So yeah, try and experiment this kind of stuff, because yeah, like our voice in the last few days has really like taken itself to new heights. Like, because with me, I find that I'm just incredibly inconsistent. It's like sometimes I'll be able to sing just really, really high and belty stuff, and then the next day I'm like, well, why is it that I now can't do it? And then I'd, you know, read loads and more books and more videos and watch more videos to try and figure out what was I doing, or go back through all my notes and figure out what the heck was I doing differently that time to the previous time. And I mean, Seth Riggs basically started off, he's the SLS legendary teacher in California, and I think his discovery about the larynx and getting a low larynx basically kickstarted his teaching career. So the larynx is just so vital. So if you do all the other things with singing, with, you know, getting a really good breath in, you know, diphthongs, you know, just so many of the other suggestions, like sort out your tongue, your jaw, all this stuff is really important. But if your larynx is high, it basically throws the entire mechanism off. And one of the problems with singing is that you've got so many different variables, and if one of the things is not quite right, it's just gonna wreck your whole mechanism. The good thing is that if you sort a crucial thing out, that often makes a lot of the other problems go away. So yeah, try and do this suck in, and then when you go to sing as though you're still sucking in the air, because that keeps it open throat. It stops it, just all the whole mechanism here, just, you know, going loose or staying rigid. But when you're imagining that you're still doing the sucking in when you're singing, that keeps the throat really open and means the resonance just, you know, flies. So yeah, good luck with that, and hopefully that was helpful for you.